I'm Ernesto Garcia from the Greater El Paso Association of Realtors, and thank you for tuning in to another edition of Get Going with GEPAR. It is our podcast that right now we encourage everyone to go to YouTube to get, because it's much easier to share, and of course YouTube is the #1 platform for streaming in the world. Plus, wherever else you get your podcast, this podcast is available, and we're always glad that you're able to join us. And as always, if you have suggestions or comments or anything else that you want to add, make sure to email us anytime at egarcia@gepar.org. That's egarcia@gepar.org, or our CEO, Tony Delgado, tdelgado@gepar.org. Coming up on March 1st, beginning March 1st, certain residential real estate transactions will require reporting to the U.S. Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, called FinCEN. New rules are in place. And so a person that's going to help us explain a little bit more about that and make it a lot easier for you, or at least get you guided in the right direction, is Melanie Jones. She's the division president at Stewart Title. You've been focusing on this a lot. The new FinCEN AML rules are coming in. How did this all get started? I guess that's the best way of saying it. And why are realtors needing to pay close attention to this?
Okay, how did it get started? Well, first, thank you for allowing me to come and visit with you guys today and share this information. It's something we want to make sure that realtors are familiar with. We always want your closings to go smoothly, and the best way for that to happen is for you to be informed. FinCEN is, as you said, it's a new rule that's coming into play on March the 1st. It's coming from a bureau out of the U.S. Treasury. They are already getting information about entities who are buying real estate properties through traditionally financed companies, banks, mortgage companies, credit unions. Those entities already have to do reporting about ownership interest in real estate transactions that they are financing. What the U.S. Treasury figured out is that they are missing a segment of transactions that are either getting non-financed, meaning paying cash, or they're going with private lenders, seller financing, 1031 exchanges. So what they did is they put this rule into place now to capture the information on those transactions. Why do realtors care about this? Well, obviously it's the law, and we all try to be good citizens and good corporate citizens and follow the laws. But from a realistic standpoint, I don't want your transactions to get delayed. And if you do not identify these transactions that have potential reporting consequences up front, then your transaction might get delayed. Buyers and sellers might get unhappy. That's again going to affect your referral of business, and we all live off of referrals. We want things to go smoothly for everybody involved. There are fees that are going to be involved in the collecting of data in this information. We want to make sure that your buyers know about those fees as well. FinCEN is it's taking effect on March 1st. So transactions that close March 1st or after are the ones that are going to be affected. And do you want me to go ahead and go into details?
Go ahead, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, FinCEN, it's going to affect residential transactions, but it's a very broad term of residential transactions. Residential being 1 to 4 family, which can include single family homes, duplex, triplex, quadruplex, condominiums. It also includes vacant land that's going to be used for residential purposes. So if you have somebody who's buying some property to subdivide it to build homes on, that could be subject to it. Commercial properties that could be, say, retail on the bottom with an apartment on the top. People are buying the building. That qualifies now in this rule for residential purposes. If somebody's buying a storage facility that has on-site living quarters for the on-site manager, that could be subject to this. So it's a very broad term when it comes to residential. That's the first criteria. Second criteria is non-financed, meaning cash transactions, private lenders, 1031, seller finance assumptions. And then the third criteria is that it has to be an entity that's buying the property. An entity could be a corporation, association, partnership, trust, LLC, any of those entities. So if it's residential property, non-traditional finance through a bank or credit union, and an entity buying it, you could be subject to this.
Now, you came and spoke to our Border CIE, and you came out with a checklist, FinCEN AML checklist that we are going to go ahead and copy. And what we will do is we'll let you scan it either through the podcast part, or we'll add a link on our newsletters for our members. Therefore, they have this part, which is something that they can go through. And it does ask something about transaction types that are non-finance. How is that going to be affected with the new rules.
Right. We want to make sure that you have resources available to you to help you answer questions and potentially identify the transactions that are involved. And on this checklist, it breaks it down into the segments. What type of transaction are we working with? First of all, is it going to be a cash transaction? Are they going to be getting private lending, seller financing? Another segment it asks you is what type of property is being purchased. Again, 1 to 4 family, that's going to be obvious. Condos, that's going to be obvious. Where it gets a little bit trickier is when you're talking about land or commercial properties that might include that. And then it gives you a list of the type of entities that may be affected. So if you use the checklist, it's going to help you identify.
And once again, we will put this checklist and make sure to get it available. You can also email me at egarcia@getbar.org. I will have this scanned and ready to go. And like I said, we want to make it affordable right there so our members have it and so they know where everything that's there. I've seen a lot of charts, and I see a lot of organizations trying to put charts to show where this goes. You don't have to worry about reporting it here. You have to report here. One thing that I always see on these charts is trusts. If a property is being bought by a trust or a corporation part, that's where FinCEN definitely is going to be taking.
Interestingly enough, that's one of the gray areas in the FinCEN reporting. Because if it's a company, an association, a limited liability company, a partnership, those are pretty black and white. The case of a trust is different though. If it's a trust where, let's say that you're going to put it into a trust for estate planning purposes, then it may not be subject to FinCEN reporting. But if I am buying property as an investment for a trust, then it would be subject to FinCEN if the other criteria are met. So trusts are the one gray area. You're going to want to talk to your attorney to find out if you're going to be subject to the reporting. Again, estate planning is really the caveat that you kind of have to remember when it comes to trusts. If you're doing it for estate planning, you probably don't have to worry about it. Also, if there's conveyances where you have to get, say, a deed to clean up a title for closing that came out of a death, a divorce, a bankruptcy, something like that, then those conveyances are not necessarily going to be subject to the reporting.
Okay. Now, I do want to point out something that you do put on your checklist here is that this is for general informational purposes, okay? As you get closer to deals, and I know nobody wants to be delayed. Nobody likes hearing that word delayed. Oh, we're behind. We're waiting on this. I know it makes a difference, but this is part of what you need and make sure you double check. This is the checklist will have informational purpose stuff, but you still are going to need to speak with somebody who will probably be someone in the legal aspect to make sure you got that taken care of. Am I correct?
Oh, absolutely. We want to give you guides. We like to give you resources that are going to help you to keep the train on the track. Right? We want you to keep moving toward closing, but we don't expect the realtors in the transaction to be the professionals when it comes to this issue. There are professionals in the industry who are going to be very familiar with all the intricacies of the reporting process and who's required to participate. Stewart has a company called FinCEN Reporting Services that has been specifically set up to handle these transactions and to be able to answer questions for consumers. There are other vendors out there who are providing similar services that other title companies might be using. I encourage you to reach out to those companies if you do have questions or your clients have questions that need more specific answers.
So we're going to leave this checklist here, and what I believe we're going to do on the YouTube video that you're watching, throughout the video there should have already been a QR code that you can scan this part in, so we will make sure that that's there, and if not, then you can email me at egarcia@getbar.org. I know there's so much more that we need to go into this, but this checklist will make it simple. But bottom line, if many members watching this video, and this probably might have gone over their head in some ways, what's the best way, what's the best thing you should tell them? Now, first of all, not panic, but just know to double check your transactions on the first. Am I correct?
Right, exactly. And I think the important thing to know is anytime there's a new rule that comes into play, everybody's a little bit confused about it. They get a little bit nervous. They don't want it to be handled incorrectly, and that's fine. There are people in the industry who are professionals who can help you handle this. Just help to identify the transaction, and remember those 3 criteria: residential transactions, not financed by a bank or credit union, and it's an entity that's buying. If you identify those 3 things in a transaction, reach out for help. Reach out to your favorite title person. You can call me and ask me for help, Melanie Jones at Stewart Title. My email is melanie.jones@stewart.com. If I'm not available, all of our staff has been going through months of training on this process. I can get you over to a person who will be able to help you, or they'll be able to put you in touch with the best person to help you. We just want to get your deals closed timely, efficiently, and without any aggravation for you or your clients, so that then they will refer more business to you.
All right. And we want to thank Stewart Title for once again being a strong affiliate here with us at GEPAR and supporting our members and supporting you. This has been our edition of Get Going with GEPAR. We want to thank you for being able to join us. Melanie, I appreciate you as well. I have a feeling we're going to see you quite a bit in the next months. I think as you get something started, wait till afterwards, and then we are still going to be doing this more.
There's going to be more questions that come down the pipe. There's going to be more clarification that comes from the U.S. Treasury. They are putting out answers to frequently asked questions on a regular basis, so it's an evolving process. I'm happy to share as much information with you as I can get.
If people want to reach you, get a hold of you, how can they do so?
Melanie Jones at Stewart Title. Email is melanie.jones@StewartTitle. You can also reach out to any of the offices, and the people there can put you in touch with me.
Obviously, check our newsletter. We put some more videos there and some more training parts there. And like I said, we'll have on future newsletters as well the information and checklist here that will help you out. And remember, just to put the disclaimer out there, the checklist is provided for general information purposes only. I know that's important because legal likes to know that. It's not constitutional legal that you still require. I know she understands. Melanie's like, you've got to mention that. I will make sure to mention that.
Thank you.
As always, email us for any suggestions that you would like on Get Going with GEPAR. And of course, you can watch us on YouTube. That's where we're at. The streaming platform giant. I guess that's a big one that everyone wants, but also wherever you get your podcast. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Ernesto Garcia for the Greater El Paso Association of Realtors.
At GEPAR Original Production.